I'm Duane Laflin with Gospel Magic Now. Once again, we're backstage at the Grand Magic Show. Not backstage to prepare a big show, but rather to prepare a program that you might watch and I trust you'll find helpful. A program called Good Ways to Illustrate Magic. One of the things that we run into as gospel magicians is there are people who don't think we should be doing magic. They think it's of the devil, or they at least think it somehow contradicts Scripture. So it's very helpful in our shows if we have early in the show some sort of disclaimer. Now, by disclaimer, I mean we do something that sets the record straight. God does miracles, we don't. There's a natural explanation for what we do. We, of course, just try to keep that explanation a secret. And I have found it very helpful to have a demonstration along with the explanation. Here's one of my favorites. I begin with the red ribbon. I call attention to the red ribbon and I say, ladies and gentlemen, I am a gospel magician, Christian illusionist, whatever you want to call me. That means I specialize in doing things that surprise the eyes. Watch carefully. What happens to this ribbon might surprise your eyes. It's a red ribbon. It goes into my hand. As it goes into my hand, I want you to think about some things in nature. For example, there's something in nature called a chameleon. A chameleon is a lizard that looks like it's not there even though it's there. It blends into its surroundings. And the important thing to know right now is God made it that way. There's an insect known as the praying mantis. The praying mantis looks like it's a stick, but it's not a stick, it's a bug. God made it that way. Made it to camouflage, to look like something different than what it is. So if I do a trick where something is different than what it appears to be, that doesn't mean I'm doing something evil or wrong. It just means I'm using a principle from God's created world. It can be a very fun kind of principle to use. And used properly, it can help us learn something. Another phenomenon is called a mirage. Imagine in the summertime, you're driving down a hot summer road and up ahead you think you see water over the road. But you get up to where you thought the water was going to be and there's no water there. What is it? Do you say, uh-oh, must be Satan? Of course you don't. No, you say that's a physical phenomena relating to reflection and refraction of light. That's all. Well, as a Christian illusionist, I take things from God's created world, reflections of light and camouflage tricks and all kinds of other things, and with them I create my kind of special effects. Now, about what I've been doing with these ribbons. Remember the red one? Remember the yellow one? Some people say, we know what you did. They went up your sleeve. But the question is, if they went up my sleeve, how is it that the red one can come back? And when it comes back, it's attached to the yellow one. In fact, if you watch very carefully, the one that's blue, well, it just might end up attached to the other two. And if that happens, you're going to have to say, maybe the hand really is quicker than the eye. Maybe that's one way I create my illusions. But however I create my illusions, the important thing is to remember, God does the miracles, I do the tricks. Now, my point with that is to say to people that it's just a trick, there's a natural explanation, only God does the miracles. And what I just used is something that involves a set of streamers. Magicians will already know the gimmick I'm using, so if you want to purchase something like this, just go to Laflin Magic Store and look for the streamer set that fits in the gimmick that we talked about. And you'll be able to use that or a variation of your wording with that to talk to the audience about what magic is and is not. Now, I've got a second demonstration for you. Once again, we're thinking about ways to demonstrate and explain to our audiences that it's just tricks. Nothing spooky, nothing we should not be involved with. So here's another one of my favorite ways to do that. I say to the audience, God does the miracles, I do the tricks. It's all about illusions, which are things that play tricks on the eyes. Someone has said an illusion is when you do see what you don't see and you don't see what you do see. So take a look at these loops of rope and decide what you see. You see separate loops of rope, each created with individual knots. And because of the knots, there's something that is not possible. And that is, there's no way that these circles of rope could intersect or connect without untying those knots. So if it looks to you like somehow, some way, these loops of rope do come together, you'd have to say to yourself, that could not be. That must be an illusion. It is a pretty good illusion, is it not? I mean, it's amazing how much it looks like these loops of rope are together, but unless I untie this knot or that knot, they really could not connect. Just one of those tricks on the eyes. Now I have another loop, And an interesting thing is that not only does this play a trick on the sense of sight, but also sometimes on the sense of touch. I'll show you what I mean. 2 loops of rope, each with their knots, no way that they could be connected without untying those knots. But suddenly it looks like they're connected. But watch this. Not only does it look like it, it feels like it. Very tight, strong connection. But how could that be? How could it look that way and feel that way when I've got one loop over here and one loop over there? Now, on special occasions, you can take all 3 loops of rope and with them create that wonderful little puzzle, that wonderful little surprise for the eyes that somehow, some way, they all come connected. And when that happens, you say to yourself, that has to be an illusion, because there is no way that this loop of rope could connect to that loop of rope, or those 2 could connect. There's no way they could connect without untying the knots. But it sure did look like it, didn't it? That's why we call it the illusion of the linking ropes. And ladies and gentlemen, when you see something like that, understand there's a natural explanation for it. But the fun is wondering what the explanation is. And the important thing is remembering when you see it that only God really does miracles. Things like what I just did, well, those things take a lot of practice. So that's another way to make the point. God does the miracles, you do the trick, you talk about the art of illusion in the process. This is called linking ropes. You can find it at almost any magic store, certainly at LaflinMagic.com. Here's a third way to demonstrate and explain what magic is and is not. You've set it up by saying God does the miracles, you do the tricks, you're a Christian illusionist, you're not involved with anything spooky or along that line. You say, possibly it all has to do with sleight of hand. Have you ever wondered whether or not the hand is quicker than the eye? We'll demonstrate with a yellow ball and a red ball and a blue ball. The challenge is to keep your eyes on the ball. One eye on the blue ball, one eye on the yellow ball, one eye on the red ball. Wait a minute, that's one too many eyes. But anyway, the red ball goes into the hand just like that. I follow it with the blue ball. I'll take the yellow ball and, well, let's put it over here. Okay? So the question is, how many in the hand? You say 2. But I have a blue ball, a yellow ball, and a red ball. Were you watching carefully? Let's try it again. So here we go. We have a red ball. Into the hand it goes, just like that. We follow it with a blue ball, just like that. Here's the yellow ball. Remember, we don't use it, we put it away. Some people don't think I put it away. They think I kept the yellow ball in this hand, but I didn't. I put it away. So the question is, how many in this hand? 2? I've got a blue one, a yellow one, and a red one. Maybe I better try again. This time I'll slow it down quite a bit. So watch very carefully. First one is what? Yellow. The second one is red. Third one is, well, let's not use the blue one. We'll put it away. So the question is, how many in the hand? And this time the audience says 3. I've had children shout 6 and all kinds of crazy numbers. And I say, actually, I don't have any. Maybe the hand really is quicker than the eye. And whether it is or it isn't, the important thing to know is that it's a trick. There's an explanation to what I do. I've practiced long and hard to make the things happen that happen. It's only God who really does the miracles. As you watch the show, remember, God does the miracles, I do the tricks, we have fun with the tricks, and we can learn some things along the way. And that's it, 3 ideas for explaining what magic is and is not. The last thing I did was obviously sponge ball manipulation. That routine is taught on my DVD, Clever Sponge Ball Magic. It's also demonstrated on our Magical Production Value DVD. So if you're not familiar with how to do the trick, those are 2 places to find the information. But the important thing is just I'm taking time with some fun, with some entertainment in the magic to make sure the audience understands I don't claim to have any secret powers. I don't claim to be involved with anything supernatural. Well, be watching our Gospel Magic channel, because in the future I plan to have quite a few more segments like this on this same subject. In other words, yet more ideas, more ways to explain to people what magic is and is not. And of course, we're going to deal with other subjects as well. So this is Duane Laflin. Bye-bye.